Wheels on the bus.
The wheels on the
How?
bus go round and round. Take your hands off.
We
It's
are
like the
alive.
chores. There you go. Hi, Solange. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? I'm
I'm
great.
great. I'm great. So, um, I am the upper hemisphere. You're the lower hemisphere.
Exactly.
I'm the northern hemisphere. You're the southern hemisphere. Is that what it is?
Exactly. In Argentina right now, heading into fall very soon.
Ooh, that's
Tomorrow.
pretty sexy. I like that. I like, you
Yes.
know what? I like the change that the season brings. It shows it reflects like how we are on the inside, right? How we are going into a change because we have so much information. Some of us might be feeling overwhelmed. Some of us might be feeling out of sorts a little bit, right? But what it is it's just signaling that we're going through transmutation, like change again. So I really appreciate it. Hey, Angela, Angelica. No, it's Angie. See, I was going to call her
And
Angie. Hey, Angie, how's it
yes.
going? Nice
How
to
are
see you.
you?
Okay, so we had discussed that what we were going to do is we were going to figure out like some feedback to find what people are interested in asking questions about, right? Well, what
Yes.
was our subject this morning? I forgot it. What was our
I
subject?
forgot it too.
Okay, all
We
right,
said we were going to go with the flow, and
right.
then we picked a subject, and then we forgot. So,
Right? Okay, so maybe okay, so the reason maybe we'll just go through the purpose of the show and then that way that'll help, okay? So the
yes.
purpose of the show is my name's Lucinda, this is Solange. Solange is a life coach and I'm a spiritual advisor. And so we thought that we would go ahead and get together because we have great conversations in the back house with ourselves and we were like, man, we should bring this to the public because we're having really deep conversations about spirituality and how to accept our new belief systems every day in every way and different solutions to find like the deep recesses inside of us so that way we don't react or like respond in a way that creates more shame and guilt and remorse and regret, right? And so as we were looking at that today, we kind of thought that it might be good if we took questions about some of the energy that's around you. So I don't know how to premise this for you guys, so I'm just going to talk. If you guys have questions about what I say, like if there's words you don't understand, write it down. Write it down and then we'll answer because that's what this is. This is all about information and bring it forward for you. So if you have ascension questions or terminology questions, I can bring the best of most of the worlds together and kind of show you how the story is very aligned throughout the globe. Okay, how the story is aligned throughout the globe, and it's going to take a collective consciousness to change the story if we wish to have better spiritual growth and an easier way of things. So it's going to have to be a global consciousness in order for us, because we are a global consciousness. There's like the law of oneness. We're all one. They just had Oh, let's talk about that. So the Nobel
I
Peace,
remembered something. We were talking about manifestation earlier. So,
right?
it's really
That's good. Oh yeah. So do you want to open the floor for that? You want to do manifestation?
yes, let's do that.
Okay, okay. So then, okay. So we'll talk about manifestation. We have how tos. How tos are pretty easy. The thing is that because they're so easy and simple, what ends up happening is that people don't believe that it can be that simple. And so they insert things because they think they need more in order for things to perpetuate. But that's not necessarily the case.
And I feel like the brain is always looking for something like more difficult,
Right.
like all the time.
Right. Well, because we tell ourselves that it's
Hmm.
hard, it's challenging. And we're really focusing on the contrast to where if if we're in a situation and we focus in the direction of that particular situation. No matter what we're focusing on, that is our experience. And so you know, it's not just change your focus, it's find out where your focus is and then kind of reconcile it to where you bring
Mm,
yourself into like a reset, right?
exactly.
Right.
And all the thoughts are very important because how we think, it's the way how we gonna manifest, I think. So it's really important to like look after all of our thoughts because they are so important to manifest.
They
Everything
are.
needs to be aligned, right? That's
Yeah.
what I'm reading in my Joe Dispenza book right now.
Oh, I love Joe Dispenza. I'm enamored with his story about how he was able to meditate through and really realign his spine after the tragedy that he had. That was
Mhm.
just amazing. And so that has a lot to do with like what you're talking about, like the difference in the manifestation for like what you desire. And so we were talking about focus. Okay, so focus is going to have to be one. And that's just like to where you're drawn, where are your eyeballs in your head and in your head drawn, right?
Mm.
So what are you seeing up here that you're imagining would be like a really good interaction, right? And then what are you seeing coming forward in the presentation, and then marrying both of them to see that that is how you get the reconciliation point. So you've thought about something in here, you visualized it basically, and you've said this would be a nice experience to have. And it might be a very brief thought, it might be a very brief want or desire, but it is a sound wave that you put out into the universe that is answered by the energy. It's very reciprocal because the energy is entrained to you. And
Mm.
depending on where you're focused, that's how you can receive. So it's really a matter of getting like your basket or your bucket underneath the faucet in the right
Exactly.
way. And sometimes
Yes.
we have it halfway in because we're so afraid of the change, right?
Mm.
And so getting baptized totally with this new lifestyle, because usually the asks that we have are pretty big, right? We
Mm.
want a new house, we want a new car, we want a new family, we want a marriage, we want, you know, and those are large asks. Those aren't small asks. Those are big. And if we recognize them as like huge, then and we tell ourselves that that's like a little bit beyond or challenging or hard for us to attain, because we're only seeing the effort that we would have to put in to be able to get it from the position that we're in right now. And that's
Mm.
not the position we'll be in when we receive it. We're going to be in a different position. So, what you want to do is align yourself to the position that you're going to be in when you receive it. And so, you would do that through focus of like the visualization, the imagination, but putting yourself in the visualization. Like you can watch all day long this beautiful beach, this beach, this beach, this beach. But if you're not in there, it's just a beautiful beach.
Exactly. And same with the body, with the physical body. I feel like it's really important to align it too, because we need to be ready, like physically, to receive that when it comes.
Absolutely. Because the reason that we're asking for it, right? I think that mostly the reason that we ask for things is because we're not experiencing that physical comfort that we would like to have in that moment. We might feel a little bit challenged in our money. We might feel a little bit challenged in our living arrangements, in our relationships, in our, most recent experiences. It doesn't mean those recent experiences are bad. It's just that it it challenged us to change. Almost every decision that we make is spiritual because it's thoughtful and emotive. So
Mm.
that's why the principles that we operate by are going to allow us to have like a foundation to be able to move forward with. So spirituality is everything that you are. It's everything that you do. It's everything that you experience. And so when we look at it in that context, rather than curtailing it to only a religious comport, right? To where we understand that the the idea is to just have the experience however it shows up, because you manifested it from 2 days ago. So here's something like, this is probably a good, maybe not analogy, but I would say something that would be helpful. All right. Is that we have a buffer of time between when we say to the universe that this is something that we would like to have and it showing up from the position that we asked from. Okay. So let's just arbitrarily, so this isn't exact. Okay. This is just arbitrarily. Okay. So let's say on Tuesday, I am with a client, and my desire is for this client to receive something. Okay. And I'm just hoping that this client gets it in the way that I'm bringing it forward. Well, there's a lot of things that are in that, right? There's just like a lot of things in that. And so part of it is that, like, what does the client desire? What's their vibrational output? And what are they willing to receive? And so you look at it different things. But like when you take that sort of a case study and you apply it to all of us, right? To all of us, that brings in our willingness to receive. How worthy do you feel? Where are you at? Why do you need that? So you ask yourself, why do you need this experience? Mostly it's for growth. So if you allow yourself to understand that it's for growth, you'll be more accepting of the experience. There won't be that resistance, and you'll be like, oh, okay. And it doesn't always have to be a fucking lesson, right? Be a reward. Let it be a reward
Exactly.
sometimes, right? What was it you
Mm.
said to me, Solange? You were talking about how the world does for you things and doesn't always do to you things. You had mentioned something like that.
When we were talking earlier, I
Well,
don't remember.
few weeks ago. Yeah, a few weeks ago.
Oh,
Because you had talked
yes.
about, we were talking, yeah. So we were talking about how some of our viewpoints are that we think that when we look at things a certain way, that that's the only way. And when we realize that there's a truth, right, a
Mm,
different truth or a different perception or a different concept, it broadens our viewpoint. It gives us a bigger bandwidth by which to process. Now we have different experience to
mm,
draw from so that we can have that analogy inside of us so that we become accepting of whatever the circumstances.
exactly.
Yeah,
Oh, it's really interesting what Sanjay is saying.
right.
That's hard to do sometimes as we don't feel worthy. But once we
Right.
change that, it happens. Exactly. Because I feel like it has to be with the frequency as well. Because if we are um, having like really shitty thoughts, and we are like thinking like I'm not worthy, like not enough, or all these kind of like negative thoughts, the frequency will align to that, right?
Correct.
So if we start to change our thoughts and the way we think, everything will start change, I think.
Right. Well, it
And
perpetuates the lifestyle change. You're right. Keep going.
exactly. No, it's just that. And I feel like everything it's aligned, especially the physical body as well, as I was saying earlier, because if you're like thinking negative and negative thoughts all the time, like you probably will like get sick at some point, because
Yeah.
everything what we think it's going to the body as well. I'm reading that in Joe Dispenza's book as well. He explains that, and it's really good because yes, what sometimes we like, oh, I'm having a cold and I don't know why. Probably it's because you didn't say something, or you didn't let go something.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I think it's really important, like to have like positive thoughts and change that, really change it.
When you're in that focus and things are going kind of south, like let's say you're just having a day where you just happen to miss the bedstand with your glass of water in the morning. And that's kind of
Mm,
how the day is like looking, right? And with that first spill of the tea, right?
mm,
Okay. Where do you go from there? Like you have that spill and then you go through those feelings and emotions and you're assigning it different reasons, right? Or direction. So what
mm.
happens then? What would be a good thing to do then?
um Anything like one thing that I really do when I'm like that, like, is just to take 5 minutes and breathe. Just breathe in and out, like 1, 2, 3, and then, like, that helps me to like come back to my center, because sometimes it's like too much.
Oh yeah,
Everything,
right.
especially with a kid,
Oh
with
right.
a little one. He would be around, and I couldn't even drink my glass of water in the morning, and he was like, "Mom, mom, mom," all the time.
Right.
So I love him, but I need to breathe.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, breathing is
So
a really good technique. That's great that you bring
yes,
that up.
yes.
Right. So
And
somatic
then
breathing.
and then think something about I'm really grateful for. That's a really good practice that I like to do in the morning, especially. So it helps me come back as well to my center and like think positively. So I think it's really good.
Yeah, I really like that. I have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of practices. Mostly if I'm in a nosedive, because that's what it feels like to me. It feels like I'm spiraling out of control and I'm overwhelmed and I don't want to say the word overwhelmed. I just
Mm,
don't want to. And I'm telling myself this story that I don't want this experience. This isn't what I asked for. Why am I here? How come I'm being this way? How come
yeah.
this is happening? And I'm very
And then start the
repetitiously,
loop and the loop and the loop.
exactly, very repetitiously, just creating and recreating and recreating and recreating and perpetuating what it is that I'm describing. So whatever
Mm,
I'm describing, that's what I'm experiencing. So if I'm describing my experience in a detrimental way, let's say something, just one thing out of like the whole day, um, makes me focus on it. And I just described that one thing, that whole day with all that beautiful energy and all those beautiful experiences become null and void. And I'm not feeding myself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and energetically a good story to live by. I'm feeding myself detriment and and I want to say limitation. Limitation is the word that I was looking for. Okay, so there's some things that are going to happen though too. Did you know that like we have, so Neptune is in Pisces, right? And so that means that beginnings and endings, right, are going to be
mm,
prevalent and well scripted. Okay. So they're going to be well scripted. They're going to be orchestrated. That's how it's going to feel because Neptune is the precedence in that particular area. Well, because that's male, that's a female energy for the house with a male energy of Poseidon or Neptune, right? So when you have that, and then in comes knock, 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 Saturn, because he just wants to visit for 3 years, for 3 years, for three
oh,
years, right? 3 years, Saturn wants to visit Pisces. What the heck? Okay, so anyway, so Saturn's here for about 3 years. That is a lot of the reason that you're not having sleep in the middle of the night. Just be productive. Most of it
oh,
is exactly, most of it's kinetic energy to where if you nap in the day, like if you take like anywhere from 10, 15 minutes, maybe twice in the middle of the day, you'll feel better throughout the day because that's the kind of energy that you're experiencing right now. And it has
mm,
a lot to do with the solar flares and planetary energy and all of the compression energy that we're experiencing right now. So our bodies are getting lighter. They don't need as much sleep, but they definitely need sleep. So you need to nourish yourself in that way, in any way that you can. So cat naps are naturally going to be really good because of that particular placement, that transit. The other thing with that transit was that we started out the year with Mars going into Gemini, and it hasn't moved. It's still there. It's still there. So you're all emotional and you don't want to be. You're thinking about not being emotional. I don't want to be emotional. And the idea for this year with these placements, just those two, because on the 23rd, shit's going to hit the storm, you know, that it's going to just boom. Okay. So those
This
two.
is going to be like everything that we are going to see in your astrology course tomorrow, right?
Oh yeah, huh?
So
Yeah,
looking
we're gonna do
forward.
that too. We're gonna do that too. But also here, the thing that I found fascinating about this, right, is that we're always looking for reasons, like, and it sometimes it doesn't feel like it is us, and it feels like it is outside. Like we've done all those checks, like, is this a trigger for me? Is this blah blah blah, whatever? Okay, and so we've done all those checks and we've come out clean, right? Then we can determine that it's an outside influence, and we can look at the outside influence. We don't have to give it reason. We can allow it to be once in a while, to where it is more information that allows us to know ourselves a little bit better. Because when we're in those fields that we were talking about, and we're in that detriment and that focus, what we're actually doing when we want to stop it is we are distorting the field again so that we can change the pattern that we're experiencing. And so that pattern is energetic, and we don't realize that our thoughts, if we say I can't have, I'm not worthy, you can't give me, I won't get, I can't make, this is too hard, all of that, they're like they're like mini 1,000-pound energetic blocks that you're putting right in front of you, and you still have to move them out of the way in order to go
Mm.
forward. You're not going to sidestep them. When you try to sidestep them, what's going to happen is you actually pick them up and put them in your backpack. So now you're carrying a heavier load. The heavier load is the story that doesn't allow you to be the person that you wish to be. It's not meant to be as much as wish to be. And
Mm.
that becomes that whole disparity story of, oh, I guess I'm not worthy enough to actually have what I asked for. I can only get it like this. And
Mm.
mostly it's because where we manifested from was that self-worth issue, or that desperation, or we're noticing it, everything that we ask for, we're noticing that we don't have. So we're starting from a place of lack. So you have to
Mm. Exactly.
understand, right? Yes, you have to understand that lack is part of your vibration. And you have to reconcile that you're asking for an experience rather than a material aspect. So when you're asking for an experience, you become the vibration beforehand that makes you a viable match to have it come as close as you would like. But let's say I want an ice cream. Now I'm going to be inspired to go to the store. Okay. When I go to the store, they're going to have thousands of ice creams. Okay. And I'm going to go and I'm going to fine tune it when I get there as to what flavors I want, because of how much experience is provided to me in that shop. Okay. And that is the same, it's the same as your manifestations. Your manifestation is going to show up like an ice cream store, and you get to go ahead and choose what flavors you want to experience within the store. That's the beauty of the experience that you're manifesting, is that it has room. It has a
Mm.
lot of room for you to manipulate and to experience. And that is like the biggest thing, right? Instead of being so, right, about, like, we're so judgmental about our shit, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so the 23rd, I'm just really excited about this. I want to bring it forward because I want everybody to really feel this pressure. That's awful. I'm even getting out my ruler. Okay, so I've been watching, cuz this year is like a lot of, it's just a lot. Okay? It's just a lot. Mhm. Yeah, Saturn just started its journey in Aquarius. It's only at 1 degree. It has to go 28 degrees, just letting you know.
Is that scary? Is that
That
good? Is that
that
bad?
Okay, so Saturn is the planet of structure and construct. So it is, you have an idea, It wants to dial it in and make it more precision, and it has to have a beginning, middle, and end, and the result orientation needs to be employable. And so it's a very structured energy. And so it's gone into a very not structured place, technology.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now you can see. Okay, so here's what's so freaking cool. Okay, all right. So on the 23rd, basically the 24th, which is Friday, okay? So at the end of the 23rd into the 24th, Pluto, all right, is going to move from Capricorn, okay, which is also a very masculine energy, okay? So it's going to move from Capricorn into, well, is it feminine? Let me see. I don't know. I'm backwards right now. I'm like going through the wheel and it's feminine energy. Okay, so anyway, it's moving from Capricorn into it's in Aquarius, so that's male, and that's going to create pressure to where like you're going to think about things and you're going to want to know how to feel about them. And technology is involved. Technology is involved. Your public image, how you do business with others. It's a lot of community, this particular energy. So it's asking for structure for it. And because this same placement or a very similar placement like this was in the late 1700s, okay, and this is the same sort of energy shift when the movement started, right? When things were changing from one lifestyle structure into another lifestyle structure. Okay. And so, in this particular, this is during a time when the Haitian slavery revolution, it won. And so, like, there's just like a lot of different things in the Americas, the Northern America that happened that are, this energy is all there. Okay, so this is like the French Revolution. This is the 1780s and things like that. But this energy, Pluto moving from Capricorn and going into Aquarius. All right, now Pluto. Oh, by the way, Pluto stays for a while, like maybe 20 something years. Pluto is all about diving into your shit. Okay. But Pluto is in the placement of Aquarius, which is in charge of technology. So now Pluto is going to dive deep into the internet and all of social media and all of that. So all of our technology, think about AI and all that stuff, it's all going to change and transform. What would we like to experience in all of that technology? We want greater ease in the technology, yet we don't want to feel threatened by the technology. So these are our thoughts going into this wonderful 23rd. I should have a flag. But I'm very excited. It's a very big year, I think. I think it is.
Mm.
Do I think that the tool that we gave for being able to get out of the focus is pretty good. I want to kind of refine it a little bit. So, um, how do you know, Solange, when the day is starting to not be the way that you would like it? What are your indicators?
Mm. That's a really good question. I think everything it's the way I wake up. If I like can have my 5 minutes to drink my glass of water and everything is that the way it's a structure and it's supposed to be, everything's gonna be okay.
Right?
um, so yes, and the indicators usually are I'm feeling like sometimes it's not dizzy, but I'm feeling like something it's not really good in my body if I didn't drink my glass of water or if I didn't do my gratitude ritual or my 5 minutes breathing. So that's one of the indicator. Like it's very physical. I feel it in my body, like something it's wrong there.
Okay.
So yes, and then after that, another indication would be my thoughts. Usually like very um, overthinking.
Right, right. We were talking about that loop, right? We were
Mm-hmm.
talking about that loop that like it's almost like we are in obsessive compulsive disorder or distress. We could call it that because
Yes.
that's what it feels like. It feels like distress. And
Yes.
so
I
it's
think
almost
overthinking it's a great topic for another occasion because it's a
another,
huge
yeah.
one.
So maybe we'll do that next time. Overthinking. Yeah, because overthinking and overwhelm, we'll do that next.
Oh,
So
yes.
yeah, so this was good. So some of the spiritual principles that you could apply for the topic that we talked about, as far as like we talked a lot about topics, a lot of different ones, but for focus, what we would suggest is that if you create a focus around gratitude in the morning, you'll have a better start to the day. If you
Mhm.
if you can connect to the reason of why you get up, right? And that's the
Yes.
gratitude that you'll feel. That right there, that particular practice will allow you to receive more because you're changing your vibrational emission to one of gratitude. Now you're going to have more things that you can be grateful for that are going to come into your experience. And so I really like gratitude as a practice in the morning. I just,
Yes.
for me, without
Totally
it,
agree.
I don't, yeah. Oh my gosh, just to be right here, Solange, this is a mission, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Yep.
It is
So
amazing.
gratitude would be one of the biggest practices. Now there's
Mhm.
some things that you can say about gratitude. Gratitude is where maybe you would look at something that you already have experienced and find the flower in the cow patty, right? Like Mother Teresa, basically. The beauty of the situation, the beauty of the experience, the beauty of the connection, the beauty of you in the connection. Look for the beauty in everything. And that kind of helps, right? Because it softens the nuance of judgment. Not everything is black and white, it's a lot of gray. It's a
Mhm.
lot of gray. And most of us are traveling in the middle of that gray. And we need to acknowledge that we're in that gray and that there's not so much finite ism involved with that. It's more nebulous and we're kind of flowing, right? And as we
Yes.
flow, it gets a little bit easier. So with gratitude, if you are looking at it in current energetic terms, okay, to where it would be the progressive aspect of gratitude, right? It would be gratitude, appreciation, joy. Okay. So when you move from gratitude into appreciation, it feels very now energy. And that brings out your inner child because your inner child likes to be in joy and joyous because that's when they feel the most safe. That's when they feel the most satisfied. And when you can hit that energy and you're thinking about something that you would like to manifest, that is the style of energy and experience that you're going to have. And so putting yourself into the alignment purposely, right? By choosing something that brings you gratitude, moving it into appreciation and then joy, then you manifest from that space and that makes it a little bit easier. It's all your alignment, knowing where you're at when you ask first. A lot of times we because we had talked about asking from a place of lack, right? And we do because like we're noticing that we don't have that experience right now. We're like, oh wow, I haven't had it escalate yet, right? Just put yourself behind the wheel in the vision. Yeah. So, do you have any final thoughts there, young lady?
Um, I don't think so. I think we covered loads of topics. Just looking forward to learn more about astrology tomorrow.
Right,
Because
right,
sometimes when we like start to talk about the planets and everything, I feel like it's very interesting, but at the same time, um, very big, like very overwhelming if you don't know. So I'm so
right,
excited to learn.
right. Well, I'm excited to open it up. I can't wait to like. It's all online, and so I'm really excited. So I can't wait for it to like unfold and be super easy because the course will be available after we finalize it and edit it, and we'll have like a lot of different things. We do There's a book that we're using, and so that'll be in like the that's already available in the link and everything. But what we're going to do is we're going to practice intuitive astrology. So we're going to bring the fundamentals of what the practice is through Western astrology, and then we will do the application of what our intuition connects to in the archetypes, in the houses, and in our personal horoscope studies. And so it really gives us a full bodied view of how
Mm.
we can interact with one another. And that's what we're all about. We cultivate love. That's what we do. We cultivate love. Everybody should be together. So I'm excited about that one. And then we'll release the course. We'll release the course. But the thing is if you participate, you'll be able to just listen to the readings right now, and we'll gift you the course at the end. But the course is a year. So you have to show up once a month. And we've timed it to where it's mostly by the first wheel of the cycle in the house. So we're kicking it off on the 21st because that is the initiate of Aries, and then it will follow suit. So about every 4 weeks, we will be in a new house. All right, and then we'll talk about the planets that visit those houses, the transit of the planet that is in that house currently. We'll talk about how it affects us, each sign, how it affects each sign, our interactions, and how we're showing up. We're going to base it on our big three, basically. So our sun sign, our moon sign, and our rising or ascendant. And our ascendant is our personality, and that's what people see. Okay. So this is kind of like I have a Leo rising. I bet that didn't surprise very many of you.
I
But
am Leo.
oh, see, this is perfecto. Okay, so so all the fire energy, right? So we'll talk about all the interactions of that and how we grow up and the birth and the wheel and just like a lot of different things that will allow you to better understand and connect in an intuitive way so that when you're checking in, you have better, I don't know, information. Simple. It'll be very simple information because I'm not a practiced astrologer to where I don't uh, chart things. I can use the ephemeris and I can chart things if I want to, but I don't do that practice. My practice is intuitive astrology. I use my ephemeris for reference, but the intuitive astrology is checking in directly with the planets and then checking directly in with the houses and then checking in with the archetypes and different things like that. And so it's going to be like a channeled course with a lot of subsidization guidance book thing too.
Amazing. Just what I need.
I know you got me started, Solange. Oh my God. Okay. All right. So
Yay.
next Monday, we're going to talk a little bit more about belief systems and spirituality.
Overthinking and overwhelming.
Overthinking is a really good one, okay? Because like
Hmm.
a lot of times, yeah, let's use that as our subject. How about, do you want to do a card for the week?
Sure, let's do that.
Okay. So I have my Monday's tarot deck out right now. And so what
Oh,
this is, I know Mondays. I
Mondays.
like it because it's a very divine feminine base. Oh, heck yeah. Okay, this makes such sense. Okay, I'm going to pull a card for an indicator. We have two cards that just came out of the deck. That's always helpful, right? Okay, let's see. Mm, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. All right. So this week is all about manifesting. That's what it's all about. It's all about how you're able to receive and how you can unlock that cap that you put on your self worth and your lovability. That's what it's about. It's several different lessons. Solange laughs because she knows when I go into channel because I'll start choking.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's exactly why I'm laughing.
Okay, so I'm ready. Okay, so actually 5 cards came out. All of them, like there's 4 that are major arcana. So in the major arcana, what you're being shown right now is that you need to connect to your spirituality and create better belief systems for yourself. And the premise by which you operate is your spirituality. If you believe that walking into the street with oncoming traffic is a bad idea because you can be hurt, then that's a belief system. And you're hoping not to die, you're hoping that you've completed many things. There's a lot to it. So your spirituality is involved. And in that, you're looking for the application. The application would be common sense. Common sense is a spiritual principle. Common sense is what is referred to in the collective as moving with the law of oneness in understanding. Okay? All right. So here is your first, the moon. First, it was the moon that came out. So the moon card lets you know that you're in a shadow spec, a shadow aspect. This is perfect. So we're in the shadow of Pluto. That's letting you know that you will be able to connect to the moon, do the moon phases. You can make moon water and drink it. You can do a release ceremony because the moon's so full and you let go. You could do a new moon ceremony to where you're manifesting because it's like a blank canvas. There's different things that you could do with regard to the moon. Pay attention to the moon this next week. The next one that came out was the Magician. And that is indicating that if you pay attention to the moon, which is actually a reflection of your spirituality, because it's your inner world, that's your spirituality, that's your inner world. Now you can see how it reflects and affects your physicality. Yeah, the next card was the Magician. So in the Magician, that tells you that you have all the tools necessary to be able to traverse this week without having to worry too much about being overwhelmed. The idea is that when you are overwhelmed, you say, I'm overwhelmed. You allow your energy to step back into your body completely, because that's what we have a tendency to do, is to bring most of our energy outside of our body because it's more comfortable. Bring it into your body, allow the charge to recede, then move forward because you're moving as one. You have both brains engaged. Now you're in coherence. When you move forward, things will happen at a much faster rate. The next card that came out is also a major arcana. The major arcana of this one is the Emperor. So you're building foundations this next week. You're doing a lot of spiritual work this next week. Foundation building means that in this construct, you're deciding and determining what best suits that which you desire and what doesn't support it, and you're removing it. Don't forget, removing it. Very important. The next was Wheel of Fortune. That will put you in alignment with goodwill and good wishes. Goodwill, good fortune, good wishes. Okay? So now you have your structure. There's 4 different major arcanas that are coming through. The 4 major arcanas are the Moon, the Magician, the Emperor, and the Wheel of Fortune. That is a lot of male energy. So that means that the manifestational aspects require action in order to be in alignment. So really listen intuitively to your heart, so that way when you have inspired action, you can check it against your logical and reasonable mind and see whether or not it is something that you want to move forward with. If that isn't the first indicator and action that you wish to take, the idea would be to sit quietly in a meditation, look at all of your options, and sense into the one that best suits and aligns and makes you feel good, makes you feel good inside of your heart. That would be the choice that you would take. So those are the indicators. Mostly you're going to be in your thought processes, as our lovely Solange had said earlier. In your thought processes, it's as if you have not allowed yourself to mature enough, are enough. And so that right there is what you're practicing. You're practicing on creating thoughts that will harness the energies of the major arcana. Part of the story that you would create is, I'm a child of the universe and I belong here. I have a right to be here. I am heard, I am loved, I am enough. I'm heard, I am loved, I am enough. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. I can't wait until the next experience. The adventure that awaits is fun, frivolous, and delicious. I'm so excited by my life. I can't wait for my life to keep moving faster, forward, and more positive. Those are things that you'll want to say to yourself throughout the week. Many blessings. I appreciate you, Solange. Thank you for not laughing when it gets all crazy in my head.
Or in your throat.
Oh, I know, right? It's like they're so directive. It's like I don't know. I'm back in the background and I'm going, yeah, okay, but like we're having a physical experience, so we're having fun. So then they included that, so I was happy about that. I'm happy. Okay, okay, well, this has been a good day, huh?
All right. Yes, yes. I think we are ready to wrap up here.
Okay. Well, you know what? Before we wrap up, we did introduce ourselves as like I'm a spiritual advisor. So if you want to reach out, you're more than welcome to reach out through Body Studios, bodystudios.com. You know what, Solange? What I want you to do is explain a little bit about what kind of services you provide so that they'll understand like the background of which we're coming from.
All right. So I'm a life coach. I started to do life coaching sessions, especially about self care. I also virtual assistant. So that's how I started with Lucinda. Now it's like all over the place, and we are almost working together. But
Right?
I'm a virtual assistant for coaches and healers and spiritual entrepreneurs. So I love helping people basically with their businesses and their lives to make everything a little bit easier.
And she does. She really does. That's the best.
Can you relate?
Yes, I can relate because I was all over the place when I met you. And so I
But
so
we are all over the place together now.
that's right. Now we're all over the place together, but in a good way because it like makes sense a little bit. So I'm
Yes,
happy about that.
exactly.
Okay, so
Me
then
too.
we're gonna do this every Monday at 10:30. We'll come on and we'll just discuss some belief systems and spirituality. Mostly, it's all application. So if you would just go ahead and understand that you get to go ahead and take what you want, leave the rest, and it's a day.
All right.
Okay.
See you soon. Bye.